Dear viewers, welcome to this YouTube channel. In this chapter, there will be an explanation of predicting Kadhumpa Bhava, second Bhava, as follows. Kadhumpa Bhava means asset, wealth, and is the Bhava in front of the Ascendant. However, the planets here will not relate to the Ascendant. There are two consideration categories as follows. Considering outer planets. Outer planets or the planets that are in Kadhumpa Bhava should be checked. The dignities and relations of the planets as well as friendly pairs, elemental pairs, kindred pairs should be taken into account whether they enhance or weaken each other. The first step is to check the dignities for the planets if it is normal, domicile, exaltation, Maha Chakra etc., and how many of them. Then determine the meaning of wealth, assets and prosperity according to the dignities and planets involved. For instance, there are 2 planets and 3 dignities, namely domicile, Maha Chakra, Raja Yoga. This can be interpreted that the native shall earn wealth and economic status progressively, slow but steady. The older she gets, the richer she becomes, domicile. Also, it is possible to earn a big chunk of money spontaneously and in an extraordinary way. Maha Chakra, moreover, earning steadily and without much effort is also included. Raja Yoga. However, when the planets have negative dignities such as detriment and debilitation, it can be interpreted as losing wealth or unable to maintain financial status. The way of losing wealth such as progressive decrease or regular loss depends on the dignities of the planets. Suggestion should be made to keep the wealth in the partner's name or the offspring's name. The next step is to check the meanings of the planets. There are several planets that have uncertain effects, but the most obvious one is Saturn, 7. If it is in Kadhumpa Bhava, the native will usually like lands and farms. Therefore, she usually own a lot of these properties without having thoughts of selling them. The better the dignities, the more land will be in possession. Even though Saturn may not bring fortune because it is not related to the Ascendant, it will still guarantee a firm ownership of properties. Moreover, if Rahu, 8, is positive, the native will possess assets in the form of stocks, loans, bonds, transports, intoxicants. The next step is to look for Uranus, 0. If it is in Kadhumpa Bhava, it can be foretold that the native will like spending money or the properties are depleted, unstable, and easily damaged. This is because Uranus, 0, is a troublesome planet which leads to financial losses. On the other hand, when the planet that signifies financial status is stable, it indicates that it is easy to earn money as well as spending it. It must therefore be taken into account how positive the financial planet is. In case it is very positive, it implies that the income will be more than the expense, comparable to a wellspring that constantly produces water inflow to maintain the volume. However, if the financial planet is negative and Uranus, 0, is also presented, it will really indicate that the wealth will be exhausted due to the expense is larger than the income. Even if Uranus, 0, is in opposition to Kadhumpa Bhava or related to it, the influence will also be felt, but with a slightly decreased percentage depending on the relation. In this case, planets must be presented in Kadhumpa Bhava too in order to clearly see the effect. The last step is to check the outer planets or the planets in Kadhumpa Bhava, are inner house planets or ruling planets in which Bhava. If a planet is a ruling planet from Maha Bhava, it can be interpreted that the wealth and properties will be gained from death, extinction, or from inheritance. The interpretation will depend on the bhava it originates from. Notice that the origins can be unclear since most of the planets have 2 ruling houses. However, it will be clearer when looking into which houses the ruling planets transit into since the houses are in focus. **** Every outer planet in Kadhumpa Bhava together will have equal effect to a single inner planet. In case there is no outer house planet presented, consider only the inner house planet. Analyzing the inner house planet. The inner house planet or the ruling house of Kadhumpa Bhava must be identified and further check the house it appears in as an outer house planet. The dignity of the planet must then be taken into consideration. 1. The first step is to check the dignity and related planets and also Uranus, 0, that might have an impact on it. This is the same as checking for the outer house planets in every way. The exception is that it is just one planet being checked and the meanings of the planet will not be included. 2. The second step is to check the ruling planet of Kadhumpa Bhava in which house it appears in. The properties and wealth will be spent on that certain issue the house represents. Such as in Kadhumpa Bhava means it is in its domicile. Therefore, it is both outer and inner house planet. The wealth and properties will be very stable and abundant since they are neither wasted nor transported. Though they will increase slowly and steadily the older the native becomes. In Sahaja Bhava, usually indicates that the wealth will be spent on friends and colleagues. In Bandhu Bhava, the wealth will be spent on family or relatives. In Putra Bhava, the wealth will be spent on offspring or new things. In Ari Bhava, the native usually does not care about the wealth and properties that are in possession. The native has an income but does not care to spend it. The properties will become an issue that needs to be kept by others or else it will be wasted. In Padni Bhava, the wealth will be spent on partners, business partners, trading partners, litigants or the opposite gender. It can even be interpreted that Patni will be the safekeeper of the wealth and properties while the native does not care to know or to keep them. In Mahana Bhava, this is considered serious since the wealth and properties will be wasted without anything in return. Such as gallivanting, drinking, and spending on singers, spending on women or being cheated. It can be prevented by not keeping the wealth as cash, but rather keep it as real properties such as lands, houses, estates, gold, bonds, stocks. Check for Saturn, 7, Rahu, 8, first if they are negative or supportive to what kind of properties. In Subhabhava, the wealth will be stable or it will be spent on happiness, peace or long journeys. In Karma Bhava, the wealth will be mainly spent on career investment or work. In Labha Bhava, the wealth signifies fortune. The native has luck on financial matters or is acquisitive on unexpected earnings without investments. Being greedy on profits, the majority is usually the latter one. In Vinashana Bhava, the wealth is unstable and often exhausted. The native is good at spending and cannot save the wealth. However, if the planet that signifies financial status is positive and the horoscope is strong, it means that the native is good at both earning and spending without the wealth being depleted. Another interpretation is that the native is good at maintaining cash flow or manipulating assets into other forms. If Jupiter, 5, is also positive, the native will be mindful about spending. Therefore, it will not be completely wasted but rather invested and earned back twice in return. The ruling planet of Kadhumpa Bhava is comparable to Tonulak of Kadhumpa Bhava. In case it conjoins with Uranus, 0, the properties will be damaged or be spent similar to what was mentioned earlier. It is just only the percentage that decreases depending on the relation such as conjunction, opposition, sextile, trine. To summarize, the financial planet is positive or not depends on the dignities of both outer planets and inner planet as well as the planets that are conjoined, opposed or in sextile. Trine can be considered as an increasing or decreasing factor for the planetary power as general rules mentioned earlier. Observation on Kadhumpa Bhava. Kadhumpa Bhava has several outer house planets that are positive or there are friendly pairs, elemental pairs or kindred pairs. It indicates that the native will be wealthy. In case the planets have Maha Chakra dignity, it implies that the wealth will be earned in an unexpected way. If the financial planet is positive even though it appears in Mahana or Venashana, it will still imply that the wealth will not be entirely exhausted, comparable to a wellspring that can neither be entirely drained nor full. Uranus, 0, is an outer house planet in Kadhumpa, or related to. Uranus is a symbol of change and will only have negative impact. The money will easily be wasted since the native is very good on spending. The properties are damaged even though Uranus only relates to Kadhumpa. Rahu, 8, in Kadhumpa Bhava means having stocks or shares etc. as assets. Some textbooks call this as Rahu seeking treasure, which means good at spending. Properties will be damaged, which is not true. In case Saturn, 7, is in Kadhumpa Bhava, which is considered positive. There are many cases that the native owns a vast amount of lands and will unlikely to sell or exchange them. The dignity of the planet that represents financial status, outer planets and ruling planets, should be included in predicting. For example, domicile implies that the wealth and properties will grow progressively. Maha Chakra implies that a large amount of wealth will be earned in an extraordinary way or unexpectedly. Exaltation implies that the wealth will be earned from popularity and admiration. Raja Yoga, Devi Yoga implies that the wealth will be earned regularly without much effort. Negative planets will give the opposite results. In case the financial planet is positive, it is guaranteed that the native will be wealthy. Depending on the background of the native, even though the financial planet is very positive but the background is bad, the native will neither be wealthy nor poor. In case the financial planet is positive, it is considered to be very advantageous. Even if the career is not very compatible with the horoscope, it will not lead to impoverishment, but the career will not be as successful as it should be. At the same time, no matter how positive the financial planet is, there is a risk of bankruptcy when very harmful planets come into play, but the financial status will still be recovered. In case the financial planet is negative and or Uranus, 0, is in the house, no matter how good at spending the native is, it does not mean that she will be poor. It will just indicate that the wealth cannot be kept. If the horoscope is strong and the partner is supportive and wealthy, the native will be wealthy because of the partner. However, if she is responsible for safekeeping the properties, they will be lost or easily damaged. In case the native is single without a partner and has no relatives to support, she will be really poor or will just have barely enough for living. Please stay tuned for the upcoming episodes.